Final day of the second round of testing in Barcelona ahead of the new Formula One season. Jean-Eric Vergne, who's clocked the fastest time so far for Toro Rosso with a 1:23.988 lap. Paul di Resta in his Force India car, well, he trails by just over a second. Paul di Resta's fastest lap so far, 1:25.086, putting him third fastest at the moment. There's Felipe Massa. He's hot on his tails, only 0.1 of a second slower. Nico Rosberg in Mercedes, first round of testing, not going so well. He's back in ninth, 4 seconds slower in the reader. And Pastor Maldonado, who you just saw there in the Williams, recorded the quickest lap. He's down in seventh.
Let's just spin around and come over to where the Caterham motorhome is and speak to their sporting director, Steve Nielsen. Great first testing for Caterham at Jerez, but they've had a few problems since they've been here in Barcelona, and you've had a few headaches today, Steve. Just update us on what's gone wrong, I suppose.
Well, it's truly been a testing few days, I can say, here in Barcelona. We had a good test in Jerez last week, very few problems on the car. Came here, ran Vitali for the first time, and we've had a catalogue of problems, to be honest. We failed to make him comfortable in the car as he would like. We can't give him the car that he would like setup-wise. And so he's had to drive the last couple of days really compromised in many ways. And we've been unable to fix those problems. We've got fixes in place to come to next week's test here. But Vitali had to sort of persevere along with the team yesterday and basically drive around these problems and get on with the programme, because we can't just sit in the garage and make no progress. Say those fixes are in place for next week, when we expect Vitali to have a very different 2 days to the ones he's had yesterday and the day before. Heike's back in the car today, so we were hoping for an easy day without any of the problems Vitali had. Unfortunately, we've now got an engine problem, and the engine's had to come back off the chassis, so the car is sat just where we didn't want it, on high stands in the garage, not going around the track. So it's difficult.
So, yeah, Heike in it today. I mean, you just have to roll with the punches, and I suppose it's better having these problems now, and in a sense, that's what testing's for.
Sure. I mean, I'd rather find the problems here than in Melbourne. But at the end of the day, we want the car on the track. We want to make progress. We've hardly done any setup work here on this track with the car because of the problems we've had. We were hoping to get into that today. The car should be out around about 2-ish, straight after lunch, and then we've got to make the best of the last 3 hours we've got here.
I mean, a lot of talk at the moment from maybe the lower end of the midfield, and you want to be competitive in that midfield this season, about costs and how you deal with budgets and all that kind of thing. I mean, is it a headache for you? Does every penny count? We think of Formula One being awash with cash. Is that the way it is for you guys at Caterham?
No, is the short answer. I think every team in the pit lane will tell you that they want more money. We are no exception to that. We are one of the lower budget teams, and we have to make every penny count. But equally, the people at the fast end will tell you the same, that they also make every penny count. So it does focus your attention, I suppose, if you have fewer possibilities, which in some ways can be a help as well. And we've got some exciting developments coming through for the next test, new aero parts and so on, and we very much want to get them on the car, get on the track, and really realise the potential of the car, which I say we haven't seen yet.
Well, let's look on the positives. You've got Kers in your car for the first time this year, which should add a fair bit of time. I mean, has that been working out okay?
Kers, to be honest, it's one of the most complex systems on the car.
Explain what it is, for a lot of our viewers don't know exactly what it is.
Kinetic energy recovery system, which basically uses the braking energy of the car, charges a battery, which the driver then gets to release later in the lap, and gives him the equivalent of 70 or 80 horsepower for a few seconds, and we can choose where we use that on the lap. But it's a very complex system. As I say, it's no secret we use a Red Bull system, which has been absolutely faultless so far. We haven't had any problems with it. We've had problems with things like making a seat fit, which should be the bread and butter of what we do, and that's been our problems. But the Kers system has been faultless. Yeah,
but others have had worse problems, and I mean, looking around, the Lotus have had to pack up and leave, and of course you were with that team Lotus Renault for a number of years. Did you feel for them having to, to take their trucks out? Embarrassing from them and a big blow for them.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's never, you never take delight in other people's misfortune, because your own misfortune is never that far away. But yeah, it's difficult for them. But they're a good team, and I can imagine that they're turning that factory upside down now to get that fixed, and I'm sure they'll be back in strength next week.
So I'm talking about you competing in the midfield this season. Am I getting ahead of myself? I mean, is that the aim?
we aim to make the best of what we have. As I said just now, we haven't really scratched the surface of this car yet, competitive-wise, and I hope, we are aiming for our first points finish this year. I hope we can do that on pace rather than on other people's misfortune, but we really don't know yet. We need to do some serious running, some long runs, use the new tyres properly, get the drivers comfortable in the car, and then really see where we are.
Okay, well, Steve, it's great speaking to you live on Sky Sports News Europe. You've got your hands full today, so I'll let you get back to work, so thanks very much. But yeah, we will be actually ending the day here at Caterham a little bit later on. We'll be in that very impressive motorhome, enjoying the hospitality facilities up there, and speaking to the head of the team, effectively, Mike Gascoigne, who's going to be taking a look back on everything that's happened in this very eventful testing week. That should be very interesting indeed. Great facilities up there. It really is very, very plush. So don't miss that a little bit later on Sky Sports News.